Welcome, welcome, my dear people who picked watermelon. Delicious stuff. I love watermelon. Nothing reminds you of summer quite like it, am I right? So, yeah, let's get right to your reading. As you saw in the intro, there are 9 options. Oops. I don't usually take them before I start asking the question, but since they came out, as I was saying, let's get into your reading. I think that is meant for you. It's the Two of Swords. So, as you saw in the intro, there were 9 options, so you are getting 9 cards as well, because 9 is the number for today. So, yeah. Please, Spirit, can I have some guidance for everyone watching this who picked this fun little watermelon? Please, Spirit, can I have some guidance for everyone watching this? Please, Spirit, one more. Wow, lots of cards want to come out there. There's 3 here. I really just need one more for this row. One more card, Spirit, please. It's that one. The Wheel of Fortune. So, your first card is the Two of Swords, which is about you feel stuck between 2 decisions. And since we got 2 major arcana right after it, I'm going to go ahead and say that these are the decisions that you feel stuck about. So, your first option is the Chariot. Reversed. The Chariot is very much about movement, strong movement, being very much in control of. It's 4:11 right now, everyone. So if that number is significant for you. So it's about being in control of your life, and going somewhere and going there fast. But you got to reverse. So one of your choices is kind of a choice that's a little more stagnant, just like basically keep doing what you've been doing, but you don't really want to do that because it feels like you're not in control. It feels like that's what someone else wants you to do, or like the situation you're in right now was chosen for you for someone else, and you feel kind of stuck between deciding to stay in that situation and stay in that sort of disempowered position, or to spin the Wheel of Fortune, very much in opposition to the reverse Chariot. The Wheel of Fortune is about change, our fate is always changing, our fortune is always changing, and you just want to try your luck, but that one's also like, you don't know about that because you got to try your luck, and sometimes luck is bad. Sometimes you have bad luck, not you specifically, but... So yeah, you feel stuck between this like safer choice and like taking a risk. Card clarifying the Two of Swords, please, Spirit. Card clarifying the Two of Swords, please, Spirit. Card clarifying the Two of Swords, please, Spirit. Please, Spirit, card clarifying the Two of Swords. Please, Spirit, card to clarify the Two of Swords. Ooh. We got 3, so we'll just take it like this. Alright, below the Two of Swords, you have the Queen of Wands, which is interesting. You're not used to feeling this unsure. You're usually very much the Queen of Wands, very determined, you know what you want and you go after it. So this sort of like frozen indecision is very non-characteristic for you, which is maybe why you're turning to YouTube Tarot for advice. But yeah, the Queen of Wands is a very creative figure. She's someone who's very good at channeling her passion and her motivation to create in the world, and below the Chariot reversed, you have Judgment. So this is something that you feel like you kind of feel like people will judge you either way, you know? We're gonna pull 9 cards, right? So judgment's gonna be at the center here. So that's kind of a central problem, central issue to your dilemma, that you feel like you're going to be judged either way. And it's also like this Chariot is in reverse because you're like, yes, you're staying with this choice that someone else kind of made for you, but you don't really feel called to it. You know, this judgment, you see the angels like playing the trumpet. It's also about feeling called to your calling, you know, for like whatever your calling is in this life journey, you know? And you don't feel that call with this Chariot reversed, or you feel called to something else that's not wherever this Chariot is going, you know? And then below the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Six of Pentacles. So to do this Wheel of Fortune option, you might have to borrow money from someone else, and that, as the Queen of Wands, you do not jive with. You do not love that idea, especially considering that this is a gamble in some ways. Like, I mean, anything is, right? But if you're starting a business, you like never know if it's going to succeed or not. So you're afraid of like borrowing this money from a family, a friend, or even a bank, and then not having the money to pay it back later if this risk you're taking doesn't pay off. I feel like the other groups got a little more information for you in this initial part, so I feel like I should say more stuff, but I feel like this is a pretty straightforward one, I guess. So everyone in these cards, like, I guess not everyone actually, but these 3 cards are all about someone sitting alone. So if you've just been like sitting alone, worrying about this over and over again, but you feel like you're this angel with the trumpet, you know, and everyone is looking at you and watching your choices, even though you're alone in these pictures, you know. So yeah, the first row was like kind of what's plaguing you. The second row was the background of that, why that is plaguing you. And then this third row is going to be advice. Should we take that? It's 2 cards, you know. It's the 9 of Pentacles and the 7 of Cups reversed. We can always remember it later. All right, last row, Spirit, please. Please, Spirit, last row. Please, Spirit, last row for everybody watching. Last row of advice for everybody watching who picked this watermelon. Last row of advice for everyone watching who picked this watermelon. Okay, this is 4 cards, but I'll go ahead and take them. Okay. So below this Queen of Wands and the 2 of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords reversed. It feels like either way, you will be making a naive, bad choice, either in regards to money or in regards to your passion. I'm going to put you another advice card because yeah, I don't know that I get that one. Another advice card for Group Watermelon, please. Another advice card. Thank you, Spirit. Knight of Cups reverse. I don't know that that's helped, Spirit, but thank you either way, I guess. So a lot of reversals here. What are you trying to tell us, Spirit? It's actually, Spirit's actually saying that this indecision is actually good, even though it doesn't feel great because it feels harrowing for you, mayhaps. Ten of Wands. Even though the situation feels like a burden to you, you have to be, your advice is to be cautious, not to be naive about money, or to be naive about your own self, about your own passion, about your own motivations. You know, you've got the Knight of Cups reversed here, so try not to over romanticize either option either way. You know, the Knight of Cups is a very dreamy figure, especially in the upright, but in the reverse it's more about like try to leave your emotions out of the situation for a bit. But if you leaving your emotions out of it doesn't mean only thinking about money. It's not just emotions or money. There's also like spirit and drive and motivation and the things that make you feel alive, you know, which is also emotions, but like the cups is more about like touchy-feely emotions, whereas the wands is more about like fiery emotions, really, you know, just like yeah, like I said earlier, drive, you know. To be the Page of Wands and only think about that drive and completely ignore the money aspect of things isn't smart. But to only think about the money aspect of it and completely ignore what you're passionate about also isn't smart. So even though this doesn't feel great, continue being cautious in your choices and try to kind of see it from a few different perspectives, you know? Yes. And then your advice for the Chariot is the Queen of Swords. Swords is all about the mind. The Queen of Swords is about seeing things clearly, you know? I always imagine like you can see the sword in front of her, right? And she's looking right ahead, and it's like the sword is cutting a path of clearness through this like fog of doubt, you know? You see how it's like foggy in the background behind her. So yeah, look at, so this Chariot has got you feeling like being like this Chariot option makes you feel like stuck and like you're not going anywhere, and also afraid of judgment. And your advice here is again to try to go a little more rational. You know, like, are you as stuck as you feel like? Can you have both instead of forcing, or not forcing, but instead of believing in this dichotomy of options, you know? So yeah, your advice for this feeling of feeling stuck is to just be a little more analytical about it. Like, look at your options. Are you really stuck? How can you make the best of this situation that maybe wasn't chosen for you, but can maybe be your springboard onto this wheel of fortune? You know, it doesn't have to be really one or the other, end all be all, you know? Maybe that's why you got all these reversals in your Two of Swords advice. Just to be like, don't make a choice. Just like hold on for a bit and keep choosing both for as long as you can, basically. And your last advice card for the Wheel of Fortune is the Hermit reversed. So the Hermit reversed is very much to me like you have gone into mental isolation to kind of like elaborate this Wheel of Fortune idea, you know? So if that's a business like you made your business plan by yourself. If this is like, I don't know why I keep coming back to this business idea, but it's like that sort of like exciting but also really risky sort of thing. It doesn't have to be a business, but whatever it was, you created this plan by yourself, but now you need to go and get investors. And even if investors are your family, or like, it can come from unexpected places, and the Hermit here reversed is just telling you it's time to stop keeping it to yourself, and bring it to other people and open yourself to receiving help from other people, and that will make everything easier. It's okay to accept help. Like in this, this was drawn 100 years ago, so it looks quite, these poor people with this like gentle nobleman being so generous towards them. It like feels condescending as a card, but the Six of Pentacles is about a mutual give and take, like someone's helping you out now, but later in the future you might be in the position to help them out because of this help now, and even as they help you now, like it's nice to help other people, you might make them feel good by asking and by allowing them to support you in this moment. Like by allowing yourself to be supported, you're supporting them emotionally. You know what I'm saying? So really you should just go up to someone and be like, you should be privileged to give me money for me to do my Wheel of Fortune thing. Like, this is a favor I'm doing to you, because it is. All right, these are just a bunch of little messages, quotes that I saw around it, and then wrote down. That one just jumped out already, so I'm only gonna get 2. Okay, 3. This is a dialogue. I don't remember where it's from. It says, you can't change nature. Change is nature. I think this is kind of cringe. Even as I was writing, I was like, ooh, cringe. Just like as a dialogue, like, ooh, snap, but I do agree with the message of it that, change is nature, none of us are stagnant, I think this message goes really well with this Wheel of Fortune. Au plus fort de l'hiver, j'ai finalement appris que je portais en moi un invincible été. In the harshest of winter, I finally learned that I carry within me an unquenchable, an undefeatable summer. And, I think that's a little bit, this is the Chariot reversed, this feeling of being quenched or being trapped, like, even if you're not, like, even if you're like living with your parents, for example, like a lot of us had to, move back in with our parents for quarantine. Even if you're like in a situation that isn't, that, like, isn't your greatest good, you carry within you an unquenchable summer. Like it doesn't need to be summer around you for you to feel summery inside. You don't have to be going anywhere for you to feel like you're going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Just like find that core of strength within you. Yeah. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. So those are your messages. Let's do a quick recap. You are feeling torn between keeping doing things the way that you've been doing them, not really going anywhere, feeling really stuck, or doing a complete 180 and doing a totally new thing that is a little risky. And Spirit's advice for you is don't be rash. You have 2 pages reversed and a knight reversed, so that's like, don't be rash yelled at you. But also don't ignore your drive and your passion, you know, and try to conciliate these 2 choices as much as you can, and look at them with a rational mind, with this Queen of Swords upright. And lastly, ask for help with this risky endeavor. Both of these cards are about kind of going to other people, you know. So yeah, that is your advice, my dear watermelon people. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like and subscribe. Please let me know in the comments if it resonated, if it didn't. Any feedback, I would love to hear it. Or if you have any like follow-up questions, you know, either like, oh, why did you interpret this card like this instead of like that? Or like, if you want to give, if you feel comfortable giving specifics about your situation on YouTube, you know, go ahead. I'll give you advice if I see your comment and have time. Thank you so much for watching, Watermelon.